Welcome to ATR Powerslam, Above the Rings exclusive YouTube show, coming to you to provide all your wrestling results for the week ending in 6/10/2023 with a 15-minute time limit. We're your hosts, the SLB and Scott. Before we begin, please make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. Before we kick things off, though, don't forget, next week, we're going to 20 minutes. AEW Collision airs on the 17th, so we will be including that show. So this will be our last 15-minute time limit, and we will be including the results from Impact Wrestling's Against All Odds. But right now, we're going to kick things off with Scott, starting with Monday Night Raw.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, it should be fun next week. 20 minutes, and we'll see how much longer we can go with this fun stuff. So for Raw this past week, kick things off with our new World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins, having yet another war of words. Can't speak this morning. This is wonderful timing with the Judgment Day, leading to our main event of the evening, which would be Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. And let me tell you, folks, that was a fantastic match, but it wasn't the best match of the night. But we'll get there momentarily. Our first in-ring match, though, was for the Money in the Bank qualifier. It was Becky Lynch getting a big victory over Sonya Deville. Our best match of the night by far. And I can't believe we got this for free. Gunther taking on Kevin Owens. It's a non-title match, but I'm telling you, folks, if you haven't seen clips of this, please go find them. This could have main evented anything, anywhere. Gunther does get the victory here, but my God, I want to see this a rematch later on. After that, we had Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler defeat Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, but this was a great showing from Kaden and Katana. It's nice to see them doing something coming up from NXT. We've had vignettes of them, but now it's actually see them in the ring, so it's nice to see them getting a good chance here against the WWE World Women's Tag Champions. We had another fantastic match with Ricochet and Shinsuke Nakamura. Unfortunately, this ended in a no contest because Bronson Reed, our thick boy himself, decides he's not done with either one of these two boys. So, yeah, I'm completely okay with this. I think this was a great showing by all three gentlemen. So, yeah, keep this feud going. We then had Miz TV with Cody Rhodes, obviously talking more smack for Brock Lesnar, but we had an interesting development. We had Mommy and Dom show up during Miz TV with Dominic slapping Cody across the face. So now it looks like while Brock's away, it looks like Cody and Dom are going to have themselves a nice little feud. This could be a lot of fun, so keep an eye on this one. We had yet another women's Money in the Bank qualifying match with Zoe Stark qualifying for Money in the Bank, defeating Natalya, of course, with Trish Stratus by her side. We had Indus Sher once again, just dominating people. Unfortunately, this time it was Cedric and Shelton Benjamin. So sad to see the former Hurt Business still obviously just getting hurt at this point. And then our main event of the night, Seth Rollins defeating Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship to retain. The caveat of this was that during the opening segment, Seth pretty much told Damian, can you actually do this by yourself? And Damian said, fine, no Judgment Day, nothing will happen. But at the end of this match, Finn still got involved. Damian was not happy about this. So dissension in the Judgment Day makes me very sad. I don't want that to happen. So hopefully it's just a one-time thing. It's not going to be because this is how WWE works, but it is what it is. Shifting gears over to NXT, we had ourselves a 6-person tag match to kick off things. It was Schism versus the Diamond Mine, with Schism actually getting the victory here. A little surprising, but we'll see where this goes from here. We had Adair Davenport. Let me try that again. Blair Davenport getting a big victory over Danny Palmer, cementing her return. We had Baron Corbin defeating Trick Williams after Baron had attacked Carmelo Hayes to end last week's show. Trick trying to get some revenge for his boy. Unfortunately, though, he met his end of days, and we move on. We had Mustafa Ali, our free agent of the Stars, defeating Joe Gacy. Looking like there might be some issues within Schism as well. At least that's just how I'm seeing it. Schism gets the victory, but Joe Gacy does not. I know that there's talk of, the grizzled young veterans leaving in October. Maybe this is that beginning seed to kick Joe out before they end up leaving. Who knows? We'll see. We had Eddie Thorpe getting a big victory over David Kemp. Scripps somehow defeating Dabakato thanks to Axiom. And then the main event was the NXT Women's Championship #1 Contenders Battle Royale. And surprises of all surprises in this match, we had Dana Brooke from the main roster, first of all, show up and enter this, which I thought was cool. There's been a lot of main roster talent that have made their way to NXT, which I think is great. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're taking away from the young stars. It's fine. That's what you have the other shows for, like Level Up and other stuff like that. This is good TV. I like this. Thea Hale from Chase U getting that victory, becoming the #1 contender, will challenge Tiffany Stratton for the women's title. But that's it for the beginning part of the week with WWE. Let me tag over Sam so we can talk about some Impact, some ROH, Rampage, Dynamite, and Against All Odds. A whole lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot to talk about. So yes, opening the night. Obviously, we have Orange Cassidy taking on defeating Swerve Strickland for the international title. Following that, we had the Blackpool Combat Club take on defeat Chaos. Chuck Taylor, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta will really start to plant the seeds here for Okada and Danielson at Forbidden Door. Next up, we had a Texas Tornado match. Hook and Jack Perry defeating La Faction Ingobernable, Dralistico, and Preston Vance. I'm drawing a blank here, but at some point in the midst of all this, MJF came out, cut a promo, et cetera, et cetera. We're trying to figure out who's next in line. And boy, did we get a treat. I didn't think we'd be getting an Adam Cole and MJF. I've seen some comments. I'll tell you right now, this was like creme de la creme. I could watch this all day. People forget how good Adam Cole is on the mic.
Yep.
Don't forget how good Adam Cole is on the mic. He's one of the best for a reason. There's a reason why he was a mainstay in NXT for such a long time.
Yep.
Konosuke Takeshita with Don Callis taking on Damon Ace. I believe that was a squash. Chris Statlander defending successfully the TBS title against Anna JAS. And then the main event, Jay White took on defeated Ricky Starks in a rematch. Hopping over to Ring of Honor, if that's the Ring of Honor taping, that don't look right. I have 2 matches, and that doesn't look right. Maki Ito and William Nightingale defeated Emi Sakurai and Megan Bayne, and then Daniel Garcia defeating DKC in a Pure Rules match. I don't know where any of this is. This is not what I want, but whatever. That was the 7th. That sounds good to me. Impact, if I'm looking at the correct date, because all you guys are like, he's not even giving me the right information anymore. That's fine. You guys got a better site than cagematch.net. Let me know. Chris Bay took on defeated Jason Hosh. We had Heath take on defeat Champagne Singh. In a non-title match, Joe Hendry took on and defeated Sheldon Jean. There was an Impact Knockouts tag team title match of the Coven, Kylan King and Teal Wild defeating Death Dolls, Courtney Rush and Jessica. Another non-title match, Trey Miguel taking on defeating Upinder Gajar. And then the main event, Moose and Rich Swann taking on defeating Jonathan Grisham and Nick Aldis. Man, that's a main event in itself.
Right?
I'm going to smack right over to Scott for Friday night.
All right, let's talk about some SmackDown. Very good show also. We kicked off with Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa in the ring, calling out Jay because they want Jay to make that decision. Who does he stand with? Stand with his now excommunicated brother Jimmy, or does he stand with the tribal chief and the rest of the bloodline? But Paul Heyman, wanted to spice things up a little bit and told Jay that he has himself a United States title championship match later on in the show. And I was like, oh shit. Oh, okay. All right, cool. This should be great. And of course, it is the main event, because where else would you put main event Jey Uso? Our first match of the night was men's Money in the Bank qualifier. Santos Escobar getting a big victory over Mustafa Ali to join his LWO stablemate, Zelina Vega, in the Money in the Bank. So we have a chance to have ourselves Mr. and Mrs. Money in the Bank within the LWO. So we shall see. The one thing that I hated all week, I take that back, 2 things. We'll talk about the second one when we talk about our news break. But the big thing that happened on SmackDown that I was not a fan of, we had Alba Fire and Isla Dawn come out, who are the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. They were going to have an interview with Kayla, and they are quickly interrupted by Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, the WWE Women's Championship champions. And now, apparently, in a couple weeks, we're going to have ourselves a unification match to unify these two titles, and I am big sad. But yeah, that it is what it is. Moving on from that unfortunate event, more Money in the Bank qualifying matches. Bayley qualifying for Money in the Bank, getting a big victory over Mia Yim. We had the other part of the show that I was not a fan of that we will talk about. The brand new WWE Women's Heavyweight, whatever championship you want to call it. It's the same title belt, just now in gold. Just matches the men's side on SmackDown stuff with the white backing instead of the black. Bianca Belair obviously infuriated with how things ended and had the champions wanting a rematch. Adam Pearce telling her, please just stay in the back. We'll talk about this after the fact. Just do it. Bianca begrudgingly agrees and stays out of it. Unfortunately, the returning Charlotte Flair did not see things that way. She came out during the presentation, immediately challenges Asuka for a championship match. Asuka agrees. Adam Pearce has themselves quite the pickle because Bianca came in after that in the back, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we had ourselves a triple threat at Money in the Bank, and I'd be all right with that because I think that'd be a fantastic match between all three of those. More Money in the Bank qualifying after that with Pete Dunne. I'm not calling him Butch anymore. Pete Dunne qualifying for the Money in the Bank ladder match, defeating Baron Corbin. And then after the match, we had the NXT champion Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams both at ringside. Corbin jaw-jacking too much with them, and it did cost him the match. And then Carmelo knocks him out as the after the match is over. So I like that they kind of sprinkled it NXT with this as well. And then we also had women's Money in the Bank qualifiers. I love that we have this qualifier, Sam. It just makes me so goddamn happy. Io Sky qualifying as well. So two members of Damage Control in this Money in the Bank as well. She defeated Shotzi. And then our main event of the night, Austin Theory, Jey Uso for the U.S. title, with Austin Theory retaining this title because obviously shenanigans happening. We got a ref bump. Solo gets involved. Pretty Deadly gets involved. Jimmy Uso shows up to make the save, accidentally super kicks his brother, which I kind of called because of like, oh, this is obviously going to be too good to be true. Theory gets the win. Jay does not make a decision. He walks by both Solo and Paul as the show ends. So Roman's back next week. We'll see if he actually makes a decision then. But that's it for SmackDown. A very loaded week for WWE side of things. Let's kick it over to Sam. We'll talk Rampage against all odds, and we'll keep going.
So opening up Rampage, we have Bandito and the Lucha Brothers take on and defeat Big Bill, Ethan Page, and Lee Moriarty. Powerhouse Hobbs took on defeated Caleb Crush. Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed defeated the Spanish Announce Project, Angelico, Luther, and Serpentico. And then there was a AEW Women's World Title #1 contendership 4-way match, which will happen on Wednesday, with Sky Blue getting the win over Britt Baker, Mercedes Martinez, and Nyla Rose. Good for Sky Blue. She deserves it. Hopping over to Impacts against all odds. I really want to talk about this so we can talk about it on News Break and on the podcast. Frank Kazarian took on defeated Eddie Edwards. We had the ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay retain the Impact World Tag Team titles against the Good Hands, Jason Hotch and John Schuyler. There was a dog collar match between Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly. Chris Sabin took on and defeated Trey Miguel to become the new X Division champion. There was an Impact World Title #1 contendership match, an 8-4-1 match. Don't even know what that is. Nick Aldis defeats Bully Ray, Heath, Jonathan Gresham, Mike Bailey, Moose, PCO, and Rich Swann. Deanna Purrazzo and Trinity took on defeated Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans. OVE, Jake, Chris, Madman, Fulton, and Sammy Callahan defeated the Design and Alan Angels, Diener, and Khan. Not sure. Not familiar. And another title change, Alex Shelley took on and defeated Steve Macklin, become the new Impact World Title champion. So now the Motor City Machine Guns have two of the biggest titles over in Impact. Guys, thank you so much for watching Powerslam. Don't forget to check out Newsbreak and our podcast, which drops every Monday. Take care.